Let's put it all out there. Golf can suck. You fix one part of your game, another piece falls apart. You fix that, your putting goes out the window. You remember how to putt, and then you're in the trees off of every single tee. We start making adjustments mid-round, and at that point, we may as well just drive off the course and go home. It can be such a frustrating way to relieve stress that we constantly wonder why we do it to ourselves. But 99% of the time, it's all in our head. Like everything else in life, we need a system. And I'm about to share my system with you. This is what's gotten me to where I am in the game. I've done a ton of research and spent a ton of time in the garage so that when I go out on the course, I just breathe and swing. I don't think out there once I've gone through my routine. By the way, it's Doug with Golf Reboot, and if this is your first video with us, please don't forget to subscribe so that you see videos in the future. With that, you're probably asking, why the heck should I be listening to this guy? We've all thought it and I get it. Well, I'm working to become a scratch golfer after 14 years away from the game. Back in the day, I was the captain of my high school golf team and got to the point where golf was just stressful and I hated it. Now I'm sharing my journey back and what I've learned with you. So let's dig in. Today is the first part of our From the Tee to the Green series. This part of the series is on the driver and how to set yourself up from success off the tee. First up, we've got the grip. So I'm going to grab a club. So I use an interlocking grip. You can see my fingers interlocked here because, well, that's how I learned it. You can use interlock, you can use overlap, you can use baseball. Interlock and overlap are the most common. Baseball grip has gotten more popular now that more people are starting to play. Some people like the way it feels more. I like interlock because I feel like it keeps everything connected, and a lot of the pros use overlap. Once you get past which grip feels right to you, it's making sure your grip on the club is correct every time. I had a massive slice for years, and I learned that last year, if I wanted to play my driver, I had to go with a strong grip to offset where my club face was going. I tried a bunch of different things, but that seemed to be what was helping me. My swing was actually a mess. I was out to in, moving my body all over, and it just wasn't a clean swing. Getting my grip right was the first step, but there was more to change for me, and probably is for you. Now, real quick, I'll zoom in on this so you can see it might get a little blurry, but a neutral grip, your hands are basically straight down. A strong grip, you're gonna see more knuckles, and your trail hand's gonna be a little more behind, and then a weak grip, you're seeing less knuckles and more of your trail hand. Weak is going to slice more, strong, draw or less slice, and then up the middle should hopefully give you a straight shot. Now let's talk about our arms. You would think they wouldn't be overly important, but they really are. Between the chicken wing coming through and all of the other different issues, they can really mess everything up. What I learned is that you can easily set yourself up for success or failure depending on how your arms are set up. I actually set my arms first now because it puts my grip in a good spot, and it's actually helped me get back to more of a neutral grip so that I can play a fade or draw by adjusting my grip and my feet slightly. So here's what I do. For your lead arm, which I'm a righty, so my lead arm is my left, I'm hitting the ball that way. For your lead arm, you want to rotate the shoulder into your body and rotate your elbow away, and then grab the club. Make sure it's in your fingertips and your palms. For your trail arm, which would be my right, I'm rotating my shoulder out and then my elbow in. I see a lot of people, they'll go out and then the whole thing in. You don't want to do that. You want to go out from the shoulder, in from the elbow. And then you can take your grip. Everything's in the fingertips, and then you're good to go. What that's also doing, you can see it makes a nice V between your shoulders and the club. You want to keep that V through your swing as much as you can. It really helps with the club positioning and widening your swing out. The wider you can go, I'm not saying go completely around, but the wider your arms are, the bigger the swing, the more speed you can pick up. Once you do that, you can practice swinging back and forth before really going at a ball. So I could set up like this and just go back and forth and feel it. Now make sure you comment down below if any of these tips are things that you struggle with. We can talk about it more. I can give you more tips for it. Coming up next, third, we've got your stance. It can be confusing based on the club length. Part of why I play single length irons, I love them. My pre-shot routine is basically the same for all of my clubs, aside from where my feet go. So I'm gonna grab another club and show you. I'm using my driver right now as the line to where the ball is to help show it. So what I do is I set up to the ball with my feet basically touching. This is a 7-iron right now. I set it up behind the ball. I take my steps out with an iron. I'm almost matching. Then I'm taking my grip and boom, I'm set. Now if I switch that out so that it's my driver, it's a little bit different. Similar but different. Feet are touching, front foot out a little bit, back foot more, club on the ground, taking my grip, and I also a lot of times will turn my feet out to open them up a little bit, which gives me a little bit more turn because I am not a flexible person at all. That's now setting me up so that I can get around and do what I need to do. Usually my back foot, my trail foot is going back 12 to 18 inches. It just depends how I feel that day. If I need to get a little bit more on it, I might go back a little bit further to get a little bit lower. I don't know, I think that helps me. All of this really sets up your stance nicely. Something else I'll do if I want to really stay away from the slice or the fade, I might drop my trail foot backwards another inch or so to try to get more into the slot and get into out instead of out to in. If these tips are helpful to you and you'd like more tips and tricks emailed out regularly, click the link in the description to sign up for the online newsletter. We're building that out so that we can get even more tips and tricks out to more people and help you along the way. Our goal is really to help new golfers and people who are trying to get better at the game. Now, moving on to the swing itself. Tempo can be important. I shoot for a tempo of fast takeaway, a little bit slower to the top, drop the club to the ground, get into the slot to go into out and explode through the ball as I rotate. So it's fast, slowing down, dropping, and then through. There's all different theories on how fast a swing needs to be. It's mainly about control, momentum, and time between parallel and the ball. Parallel and the ball. That's where the speed really comes from. Practice slower so that you get the concept and speed up over time. So I'm setting up, fast takeaway, I would slow it down here, drop it down so that I'm almost parallel, and then as you're coming through, you're exploding. This area is where you explode. And you'll also see you keep that V for the most part. When you get to the top, it closes a little bit, your back arm will bend, and then you're a triangle again. And when you come through, your lead arm is going to bend a little bit. Doing these things, I went from struggling to hit 200-yard drives a year or so ago to hitting an average drive 250 to 260 yards in the air before it rolls out. The other day I was out playing and I was hitting into the wind, hitting drives 250 yards on the range beforehand. And that's on a TrackMan range that the course has that I was trying out that actually shows how far the ball's going. And even now, when I need to get on one, I can give it a little bit extra and go even a little bit further. It's actually pretty awesome to look back and see how much I used to struggle with the driver and see how much it's changed now. Now, some people will tell you tee low, tee high. That's really up to you. You have to find where you're comfortable. What I'm realizing now with a better swing, I can tee wherever I want based on what I want to do. If I tee it with the top of my ball, even with the top of the driver, a fairway finder like most people will call it, I'm still making good contact and getting good distance. It just doesn't go as high and get up into the wind. So a lot of times I tend to use that on windy days to try to pierce through the wind. Mid-height, when you've got a little bit of the ball above, is fine for normal. I'm normally teeing it up with about a half a ball above the top of the driver to gain the distance from it. It sends the ball higher, it'll go further, and it tends to roll out a little bit more for me. Right now, I'm hitting it fairly straight so it hasn't hurt me. If it's a tight fairway, I do generally have a fade, probably a 10 to 15 yard fade. If it's a tight fairway, I'm likely gonna tee it lower to keep the ball lower so that it doesn't take the wind. Or I'm gonna play a 3-wood to be safe because my 3-wood I'm also hitting fairly straight right now. How often do you struggle off the tee? Does it ruin your day? We all know that it does. Let us know in the comments down below and we'll help you fix it. Let us know if you've switched over to irons, a mini driver, hitting a 3-wood instead. The driver is a tool that we should be able to use and it can really take strokes off your game. but you also need to know when to use it and when to put it away. A couple more tips to end the video out. Your wrists are doing different things. You have two wrists that are doing two different things. Your lead wrist is going to be rolling and turning. Your tail is throwing. Try this swing drill and see what you think. So take the club in your trail hand with the grip that you should have. Take your setup and pretend you're throwing a bag. You'll see your wrist flicking. Now do the same thing with your lead hand. And what you're going to see is as you go back, it rolls backwards, and when you come through, it rolls forwards. And as I'm doing this, you can actually see that my legs are doing what they'll generally do during the swing. Now, if you put them together with your normal grip, as you're doing that, you can see you got the flick and you've got the roll. And that's something that's also helped me get used to moving my arms, moving my wrists the right way. The last couple things to remember: keep your spine in line. That's where you're going to get power. You might think that swaying back and swaying back in is giving you more momentum, but it's actually going to knock you off balance. What it's also doing is, when you sway back, you now need to get the club back to the ball, and that's when your body's going to do all types of funky things to try to actually make contact, and you're not going to make good contact. That's where the bad hits come from. Keep your spine in line and you'll hit the ball a lot more clean than you're used to. And with the driver, when you explode down, you're using your front leg to load and push to help get the club coming up at the ball at impact. That's very important with the driver. Some people like to lift their lead heel in the backswing to almost over-exaggerate the stepping down and weight transfer. You can do that if you want to. I do it when I'm trying to get more on the ball. I don't think it hurts as long as your whole body isn't shifting. So if I come back here and I'm going to put the club down and just do it without a club. So what I'll do, if I really want to get some on it, as I'm going back and up to get higher, my heel comes off the ground, and then I step down and explode through the ball. So that can get you a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. If you go to the old school coaches, they're going to tell you don't do that because it doesn't help you. But if you're not swaying, if you're staying in line, it'll be fine for you. Listen, not every tip helps everyone. These are things that have cleaned up my game, but I've also spent the last year and a half trying different things to see what would help me. Some of it ended up being band-aids. They worked, but it wasn't the right mechanics for how I swing. Over time, we can all learn more if we put the work in. The most important thing is to have fun. And if we can golf better while having fun, that's great. Take what you can and use it. I really think some or all of these things can make you solid off of the tee. And like I've said before, once you start a round, in the words of Busted Golf, don't think, just drink. Check out their stuff, by the way. You can see that I'm wearing some of it. It's great. There's a link below. Golf Reboot will save you 10%. I said earlier, I'm not a pro. I'm just a guy who enjoys golf again. Yes, my goal is to document my journey and grow this channel, but I also love helping people and want to take what we've learned here and help others enjoy the game. Thanks for watching. If you have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see, definitely comment below. If you'd like to join our online newsletter to get more tips and tricks emailed regularly, there's a link in the description. Click that and you can sign up. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and make sure to watch one of these videos that's popping up over here on the screen next. See you next time.